It's a very difficult situation. I mean, they get the women's game is coming on in leaps and bounds, but it's still got a long way to go. I mean, I think we all.
And there is some spreading of talent around. I mean, one of the tries Barrow scored that game was the game played as a curtain raiser to the second day's bash action. One of them tries was Vanessa Temple, who should still be playing for Wigan in the actual top Super League, but obviously she decided to be in Cumbria, easy for her and stuff, which is understandable. But there is a spreading of talent around, but there's still a concentration at Leeds, St Helens and York. So it means everyone else is fighting for scraps and players still move around like all the time. There's things to work on there, but certainly we've got 3 fantastic sides to make an exciting conclusion to the competition anyway in Leeds, Saints and York. And last place in Group 1 will be decided next week as well when Wigan play Huddersfield. In the standings in Group 1, Leeds have moved top on points difference ahead of York. Both have 10 competition points. St Helens have 6 points, Wigan have 2 points, and Huddersfield are on 0. Like I say, they play each other next week. In Group 2, Warrington sit top on points difference. Barrow are just behind them. Both have 14 points. Featherstone have 10 points. Bradford have 8 points. Lee Miners have 4. Wakefield have 2, and Castleford have 0. Do you want to take us into the Championship?
Yeah, let's do that. So this weekend it was the Summer Bash. And round 21 of the Championship.
The lowest ever attended Summer Bash. Take it away from my Blackpool and look what happens. You get about 1,500 less people than you get at Blackpool, but still. And we are in a cost of living crisis that does disproportionately affect rugby league communities, especially those in the semi-pro and lower divisions, I think. So, yeah. But there's mitigation for it, but it's not great.
No, and they took it away from Blackpool.
Yeah. Exactly.
So London Broncos 12, Sheffield 38, and we had some comments on this game.
Yeah, Ian Gatward, good to hear from Ian. He said, good positive start by London, and Sheffield a bit fortunate to go in at half-time with their noses in front, but weren't going to slip up again like they did last time, and were deserved winners with the class they showed. And Shoddy and Mungo, our Alan, said, much more competitive than the final score suggests. London actually looked decent with the ball in hand, but weak defensively. That led to an avalanche of second-half points for the Eagles.
It was Batley 60, Dewsbury 6, and Shoddy and Mungo Allen said again, Campbell with his best Bevan French impression before he let everyone else have a go in the second half. Dewsbury decimated by a ruthless Batley.
I think this was a record points total in a Bash game, so yeah, definitely ruthless.
Okay, and it was Bradford 6, Halifax 22.
And Alan said, #Dunning out. 135 conceded in 4 defeats since appointment. Team looks apathetic or unhinged if it's Flanagan. Oh, unhinged if it's Flanagan, so Flanagan looks unhinged. An awful performance, and facts had us beat without getting out of second gear.
Oh dear. Featherstone 16, Lee 46, and Alan again in with a comment. Terrible kit derby. Lee reinforcing their ascendancy as Fev looked like a shadow of their former ebullient selves. That said, today doesn't really matter. It's all about the playoff matchup now.
And Brian McDermott was pretty emphatic in his belief that they can beat Lee in the playoffs. I don't know where that belief is coming from with how things are going at the moment.
Completely unjustified, but there you go. Barrow 36. Widnes 24.
And Alan said, best game of the Bash so far in the worst time slot. Game of momentum swings with each team on top for large periods. Barrow just about deserved to come out on top. Bonus of a full house of Sam at 2. Solo try. Stupid mistake that gifted a try to the opposition, and the yellow card too. What Alan's missed there, and he surely as a Bradford Bulls fan, he must have this on his Sam at bingo card. Kick off out on the full. I don't think there was one in this game. I didn't watch the game. I don't have Premier. But I think what they could have done, is put the first game of each day on, like, Free Sports or something to kind of encourage people to... But anyway, they didn't. I hope they still got lots of viewers from the members they've got, but yeah.
Yeah, Whitehead 28, Workington 10, and Alan says a match high on effort if low on quality. kicking penalties seems to be like a poor strategy for Town, and so it proved, as it did for Warrington.
It's across the board. Stop it. Try and score tries. Have fun.
And it was Newcastle 18, the last match. Newcastle 18, York 27.
Yep, and the last one from Alan, our Shoddy and Mungo friend, said, decent effort by the Thunder, especially getting back in it when down to 12, but York just the better side and getting back on track. Overall, a league-defining weekend. The relegation spots and the top 6 playoffs now look set. Yes, thanks for the spoiler, Alan, but Lee hold a 5-point advantage at the top, so I think the league leaders look set as well. They have 40 points whilst Featherstone have 35. Halifax and Batley both have 30 points, Barrow just behind on 29, and then York complete in the top 6 on 28. That's an 8-point gap back to the sides outside the playoffs. Widnes have 20 points in 7th, Sheffield and Bradford both have 18 points, Newcastle have 15 points, and then London and Whitehaven both look safe now on 11 points. Dewsbury have 5 points and Workington have 2 in the bottom 2. I mean, Workington need a miracle, basically. Yeah. They need to win all of their games now to stay up, you'd say. So, yeah, and Dewsbury looking well off the pace as well. It feels like it's time up for those two, doesn't it?
Looks like it. Looks like Alan's right there, I think.
Blake Ferguson signed a new 2-year deal with Lee, so he's one of the overseas players that will be staying around should they get promotion. Ferguson, who's 32, made the switch to England with earlier in April. The initial deal was only to the end of this season, but obviously now he's sticking around. Yes, entertaining or excruciating story, however you want to see it. Rugby league player Jack Johnston has had to have a testicle removed after it exploded during an unfortunate accident in training. Johnston, 23, saw the funny side of it despite the pain, saying he'll be back soon, just a little lighter.
Oh my God. Keegan Hurst has decided to come out of retirement to join Championship outfit Batley Bulldogs for the remainder of the season. Hurst, 34, announced his retirement in October 2020. However, the RFL registration deadline for 2022 has passed, so it looks like Hurst will need to wait until 2023 for his comeback, and it made a couple of the papers today, that.
Yeah, good publicity. Good, in reaction to the Manly Seagulls story that's, with their players refusing to acknowledge single-sex relationships by not wanting to wear a pride shirt. So Keegan Hurst helped turn that on its head with this. It got some chat, and also, he wants to come back. He's been working up towards it. So he's just going to have to work a bit harder and wait a bit longer to come back. So yeah, he's had a good break, hasn't he? But not quite long enough to be able to be registered in this one. So yeah, good luck to him next year.
Indeed. So in League One, it was round 17. Hunslet 0, Midlands 24. Scholars 46, Cornwall 6. Oldham 16, North Wales 29. Rochdale 22, Swinton 53. And Doncaster 62, West Wales 6.
Yeah, the playoffs seem set here as well, don't they? Keighley haven't quite sealed promotion yet. They didn't play this week. They stay top on 30 points. North Wales are their closest chase on 26, with Swinton on 24, and then Doncaster and Rochdale on 22 points. We'll talk about Rochdale a bit more in a minute. Hunslet complete the playoffs on 16 points. Then Oldham have 9, Hurricanes and Scholars have 8, Cornwall and West Wales have 2. So yeah, League One club Rochdale have announced that Matt Calland has left his role as head coach by mutual consent with immediate effect. Gary Thornton will take charge of Rochdale for the rest of the 2022 season. So bringing in someone with plenty of experience in and around League One. But yeah, they obviously felt they needed a change on the sort of final push to the playoffs there, did Rochdale. So we'll see what happens there.
Indeed. In Wheelchair Super League, there were 2 games this weekend. It was Wigan 86, London Roosters 32, and Leeds 46, Halifax 79.
Yeah, Golden Boot, or do they call it Golden Boot? But international player, former international player of the year, Jack Brown, is back working up towards the World Cup, he starred for Halifax in that victory. Really interesting tussle it's going to be between Wigan, Leeds, and Halifax in that division. All three have got, some class players, and Halifax have added to their ranks there for the crucial final push for the end of the season. So semi-finals will be interesting, and final to come in the wheelchair competition.
Yeah. Very good. It was NRL round 20, and the results this week. The Sea Eagles 10, Roosters 20. The Warriors 12, the Storm 24. The Eels 34, the Panthers 10.
I was expecting NRL review to be fired up into action as a result of that result, but obviously left it another week.
Yeah. The Titans 24, the Raiders 36. The Sharks 21, the Rabbitohs 20.
Tom Burgess had a big say in this one in Golden Point period. He had an incredible run in the first period of Golden Point that set up an opportunity for Latrell Mitchell that he spaffed wide, and then got himself sent off not long after, chasing back and covering, high tackle on a player making a break. It was kind of a desperate effort, but that led to the field position for the Sharks to settle it. So up and down Golden Point period for Tom.
Yeah, good and bad. The Broncos 18, the West Tigers 32. The Knights 10, the Bulldogs 24. And the Dragons 8, Cowboys 34.
Yeah, so despite defeat, the Panthers stay top on 36 points, but their lead is cut to 6 points now with the Cowboys on 30. Then the Sharks have 28, and the Storm, Broncos, and Eels all have 26 points. The Rabbitohs in 7th have 24 points. The Roosters and the Raiders have 22 points. So, and then the Sea Eagles and the Dragons both have 20 in the race for the last playoff spot. That's hotting up there. From the also rans, Bulldogs have 14, Warriors and Knights have 12, West Tigers have 10, and the Titans are bottom on 8. A couple of relevant bits of news out of the NRL. We're not going to dwell on Jackson Hastings' season looking like it was over, because I don't think he was really going to play for England, but someone who is trying to boost his chances of playing for England is West Tigers centre Oliver Gildart. He's not West Tigers anymore. He's made a loan move to Sydney Roosters for the rest of the season, hoping to get some game time in the NRL with the Roosters. So good luck to him there. That's an interesting move. And then England's first opponents in the World Cup are getting stronger by the week, aren't they? New South Wales halfback Jerome Luai is the latest to pledge his allegiance to Samoa for the World Cup at the end of the year. So it's going to be a pretty Panthers heavy looking Samoa side by the time it actually rocks up in Newcastle. You there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, Mark?
I can, yeah. Were you having a drink?
I was, yeah.
Can
well
stay in
spotted.
Then. It can stay in then. That's it for other results, David. If you'd have waited 5 seconds, we could have done that little exchange. And then... It's time for our guesses, David. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look, guesses is the fair word to say. So Super League round 22 kicks off on Thursday night, 8 p.m. on Sky. Hull KR versus Toulouse. Big news for Toulouse is they get Daniel Alvaro back from his one-match ban. I think that is big. That is really big for them. Hull KR get a few players back as well. Sean Kenny Dowell has been named in the squad for them. That's a big name, isn't it? That's a big one.
Huge.
Yeah, they've also going to welcome back Frankie Holton. That's cool. That's positive. I'll need to make sure I put him into my fantasy team then off the bench. If he's still on the bench, I might have. Anyway, his injury wasn't as bad as they made out to be. That's annoying, because not annoying for him, but annoying for my fantasy team. Who cares about my fantasy team? Matty Staunton and Jimmy Kainos, they've both been named. They've been out with head knocks, haven't they, last week? So that's looking good for them. So, Staunton and Holton to bolster the pack, and Kenny Dowell's a big inclusion for them. So I think that definitely leans this more towards Hull KR for me, even with Alvaro being back for